What is the ACCC claiming that Coles has actually done?
Good morning, James. What is really interesting about this case is a lot of the facts are not up for contest. So the ACCC alleges that for 245 items, everything from Arnott shapes to bottles of Coke to yogurt tubs to pet food, that the prices were sold at one regular price for 6 months or more, and then the prices spiked temporarily, sometimes for a very short period, before being discounted under Coles's down promotions. Now, what the ACCC alleges is that consumers were misled because they were shown price tags which said that the price spike and the discount afterwards, that was a was now price. So if it was $5, now it's $3.30. And what the ACCC says is that was misleading because it didn't reference the original price. And actually, for the items in the lawsuit, really what was happening was that consumers were paying a higher price, or they were paying about the same as what that original price was. So essentially the ACCC says these discounts were illusory, or in another word, fake.
And what's the supermarket had to say in its defence so far? And what's their broad view of the court action?
Well, look, it is vehemently defending this case. The reputational stakes for both sides are massive here. And not only that, Coles faces the potential of a huge fine. So it could be $50 million or more. I spoke to some experts who think it could be north of $100 million if Coles does lose. And so Coles is defending itself really with two key planks. It's saying that actually these discounts were legitimate because they were sold at one price, the price spike, higher price, and then discounted. That was a genuine discount, they say. And the other thing they are arguing is that actually this was a period of massive inflation, not only for Coles but for its suppliers. And inflation peaked above 8% in this time period in question. And so Coles is saying, well, you know, the circumstances changed. So that original price being offered, it was no longer relevant because costs were going up so much and it had to pass on some to the consumer. So what is going to be really interesting here is the court working out whether that temporary price spike before the discount, whether that was not legitimate, and that will really set some guidance around discount pricing.
Yeah, what's at stake here? Because Woolworths is watching this closely as well. Its legal action is likely a little bit later in the year, probably pretty dependent on what happens here. So what's on the line?
Yeah, Woolies is going to be watching this case really closely because its case is coming up as well. But I think all major retailers will, because if Coles loses, then people will be going back and looking at the discounts they're offering and wondering whether the time they're offering those discounts could fall foul of the law as well. And, you know, I spoke to Professor Alan Fells, the ex-ACCC boss, and he said the stakes are really huge for both sides and there could be massive fallout not only for businesses but for consumers depending on what happens.
It's the case of the century because it affects not only Coles and Woolies but millions of businesses who discount. What's the distinction between a genuine and a fake discount? Everyone will be watching.
There you have it, the case of the century. So it's going to be playing out in the federal court over the next 2 weeks and we'll be bringing you coverage on it day to day.